I'm ready. Do you need me to do anything, or are you just going to hit record? All right. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. If you're not here today, raise your hand. All right. We got 2 people in back who are not here today, which means in their mind they're absent, which makes them absent-minded. Okay. So that works with middle schoolers a lot better. I used to be a middle school teacher. My name is Scott Theisen. I've been here at Triton since 2007. I teach in the CIS department as an adjunct. Full-time, I'm at Governor State University. I run the department, this department, at Governor State. And if any of you have been reading the news, I currently have 0 clientele because they're on strike. So, as of this morning, so the faculty. So I'm not in the union, so I'm not on strike. But at Governor State, I provide professional development to faculty like yourselves. And one of the things that we like to emphasize at Governor State is to try and think outside the syllabus when it comes to online course design. Okay, we're going to be talking about a lot of information about that. This workshop is for course design, not syllabus design. The syllabus is a wonderful document, isn't it? It's a great read, isn't it?
Nobody looks.
What?
Nobody looks.
Nobody looks. I'm glad you said that. Nobody looks. The syllabus is usually a long, daunting document, has a lot of required information in it. Some might even consider it the contract faculty are making with their students as to these are the policies that I'm going to follow, these are the policies I expect you to follow. Usually after that first class meeting, the students are never going to look at that document again. So what we're going to talk about today is the elements that are important in your class and for the institution in general. These are things that need to be integrated into your course design, not just the syllabus. You have to assume that when the student comes into your class, and this applies to both in-person and online-only courses, if when a student comes into your class, after you go over that syllabus with them the first time, they're never going to look at it again. You may tell them to. You may say, well, that information is in the syllabus, but that means absolutely nothing. I've seen syllabi as large as 40 or 50 pages. Usually it's in there because it's required, or the instructor feels that it's important, or depending on the subject area or the college that you're answering to, the department that you're answering to, you might have things in there that are required by your department. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, but that is a very daunting document for students to look through. It's a lot to look through. Oh, that's on page 28 in the syllabus. Students got to download the PDF if they don't have a printout. They have to thumb through it. They have to find it. We have to think of things when it comes to course design as, bless you.
Thank you.
Think of things in terms of how is the student going to experience this. Now, how many of you teach online courses? A couple. The rest of you teach in person? Okay. Do you use Blackboard or any other online tools in your in-person classes at all?
Yeah.
A little bit, okay? And that's okay. We have tools available to us, whether we use them or not. How you teach your class is totally up to you, and I'm sure you're doing fantastic with the way you're doing it. When we're thinking about online environment, and what COVID has taught us is that a lot of courses are moving into an online modality. And whether they're not fully online or not, there are a lot of tools available to instructors and students in an online format, paper saving, time saving, applications that can be used. When we are designing our courses for students, we need to think of things from the student perspective. Because in Blackboard, and I don't know how many of you have noticed this in Blackboard, the student point of view is not always the same as the instructor point of view. So we may think that we are putting something in there that the students can use or see, and they might not be able to use it, see it, or use it as we intended to, just because the 2 points of view are different. The functionality is different for instructor as it is for student. Yes, ma'am.
And I think in Blackboard Ultra, you can force the students to look at things in a certain order. So I think that might help with improving what you're saying. At least they have to scroll through it to ignore it, and they can't say, you know.
They can't say they didn't at least touch it.
Right, right.
Yeah, and there, and, you know, and how you approach you delivering the content, if that works for you, that's great. You know, everybody's got a different way of approaching things. There's no right way, there's no wrong way. But there are things to keep in mind when you're doing things. Can students experience this? Where will they get to the resources? Where will they get to the content? How are they going to interact with me, the instructor, with the content, and with each other? And that's what we're going to be talking about today. So let's think outside the syllabus. I would like everyone to please repeat that after me. Think outside the syllabus.
Think outside the syllabus.
Oh, terrible. You can do a lot better than that. Think outside the syllabus.
Think outside the syllabus.
Thank you. Now I know you're awake. All right, that's great. Okay, so how do students find materials in the Blackboard shell? Let's assume that this is an online-only course, and you have to assume in an online-only course, students have never taken an online course before. Yes, we are going to have varying degrees of success or varying degrees of experience in online courses or computer science in general. You'd be surprised in the CIS department how many students I have had who are taking an online course who don't know where the on button is. But they've signed up for an online course. And it's not necessarily the best way to say this, it's teaching to the lowest common denominator, but we have to assume that all of our students have zero experience in an online environment. So we kind of have to make it step-by-step, hand-holding, at least to get them started. One way that we can do that is when they first log into the course, how do we show them where to start? Well, we should label that in our navigation with a big start here, like label it as start here. This is where all of the introduction materials are going to be found. Show them. This is where your syllabus can be found. This is where my video introduction can be found. This is where your first assignment can be found. This is where all the campus resources can be found. Everything you need to be successful on day one is right here in this section labeled Start Here. Now, what are you going to put in that Start Here? Well, that could be unique to your class. That could be unique to the needs of the entire institution, to your individual department or program. But whatever is necessary for students to know and to do before they can even begin dealing with the content, where do I get the textbook? Is the textbook a physical printed book, or is it online? Are there additional tools, technology that they may need to use, software that they have to purchase, or can they get it through Triton for free? Or do they have, are there online resources that you are going to use that you're going to provide to them that they need to have access to? How are students going to get started? They need to know where that is. Okay. Let's take a look at, if we're looking in Blackboard, and I've called up, oh, sorry about that, called up a couple of items. Now this here is one of my courses here at Triton. It's currently an individualized study course, so I didn't label it for an online course. I have literally a class of one in this class right now.
Okay, so this is Blackboard Original, right?
Yes, okay. But it's in the Triton environment.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, if I wanted to add a navigation item, this little plus inside this circle, okay, that's where I can add an item into my left navigation. Now, let's say I had an item in here that I needed to create an orientation with. If I click on that plus and then click on content area, what am I going to name that content area? Let's say this is my orientation. What should I name it?
Orientation.
Name it orientation. Well, what else should I put on it so that students know that this is the first place to go?
Start here.
Start here in big capital letters. So let's call it orientation hyphen big capital letters start here. And just so you're aware, in texting speak, those of you who may not know when you type in all capital letters, it makes it look like you're shouting. So just so you're aware, I'm not shouting at you, I'm just speaking in all capital letters. I got some smiles. That works a lot better with middle school students. Now here's the big key to this little box right here, available to users. If you don't check that box, students won't be able to see it. Let me uncheck it so that you can see from the student point of view. I've put this item here, I'm going to click submit, and now it appears in my left navigation. When I hover the mouse over it, I get this double pointing arrow up and down, and I can click on the actual white spot here on the left part of it. If I click and drag it up, I can put it anywhere in the navigation that I want. But I didn't check that box for available to users. And this little square right here with the line going through it, that means it's not visible to students. If I go into the student preview, and that's a little recycling symbol up here, looks like an eyeball mashed together with a recycling symbol. I click on that. Now I'm entering the student preview, and this is how students will see the class without this yellow band at the top. I put that in my navigation, but it's not there. Students will not see it. So you need to make sure that you make it visible to students if you want them to see it. If you don't want them to see it yet because you're working on it, you haven't finished building it yet, that's okay. But just remember, always check things from the student point of view to make sure it looks the way you intend for students to see. When I click exit out of that, if I want to edit an item, I just click on the arrow to the right of it. I can show link, and that gets rid of that box. It's the same as checking the box at the beginning, available to users. Does the same exact thing. And let's say I don't like the name of it. Maybe I don't like the name of this. Maybe for whatever reason, I'm going to change it to Syllabus. And that's all caps. Syllabus and orientation. And then to finalize the change, I click the green check mark. Syllabus and orientation, start here. If I decide I have something in my navigation that I don't need, like maybe you inherited a Blackboard shell from another instructor, and they had stuff in there that you're not going to use, you can choose, click on this, and then delete the item. And now it's going to give you this little warning. Are you sure you want to delete this? Because if you're not sure you want to delete this, you have an opportunity to hide it if you want to. Okay. I've decided I don't like this, I'm going to delete it. So I'm going to click delete content. Another warning. Are you sure? Because deleting's permanent. Are you sure you really want to delete this? Yes, I'm quite sure there's nothing in here I'm going to delete. And it's gone. Cannot be retrieved. See you later. One of my items is already here. I can hide this one too. Warning you, students are not going to be able to see this content. If it's hidden from students, it's got a little line with a box through it. I just click the arrow again if I want to show it. There it is. I click the arrow again, click rename, and I can name it start. I can type start. Sorry about that. Not used to. I can't walk and chew gum with the same thing. And save. Okay. A little bit of editing, a little bit of housekeeping. But we need to make sure that we are telling our students where we want them to start. Where is the introductory materials? Where are the instructions for, here's what you need to do to begin working in this class? Okay. Any questions at all? Questions, thoughts, ideas? Bless you. All right. Now, what are we going to put in the orientation section? Now, just like you would maybe organize content in the course with, say, modules and folders to give it some kind of organizational structure, you're going to do the same thing in your orientation section. You might have several items. that are related to the institution. You might have several items that are related specifically to your class, like resources and how to contact them. You might have several items that are related specifically to your department or your program. Okay? Things that you may put in the orientation might already be in your syllabus, but again, we are trying to do what?
Think outside the syllabus.
Thank you. We got a couple people paying attention. Think outside the syllabus. Yes, we're thinking outside the syllabus. We want to get it out of that large, daunting document and get it into a place where students can more easily find it and access it. And then you can also say, it's in the syllabus, but it's also in the orientation section. There's the folder right there. Go check it out. Things you might have in your syllabus that you could include in your orientation section could be your communication expectations. Now, if you're teaching an online-only class, now those of you who are teaching online, how many of you teach totally asynchronous? Asynchronous, okay. So how do you contact, how do your students contact you? How do you contact your students? What are your policy? Email. Is that the only way to contact you, is email?
Yes.
Okay, and there's nothing wrong with that. You're an adjunct, you don't have a phone here on campus probably, or?
Correct.
Okay, so yeah, email is the best way to contact you. Okay, and that's okay, as long as you are communicating with your students, that's the best way. Now, when can they expect replies from you?
24 to 48 hours.
24 to 48 hours, okay? So within a business day, usually, okay? I usually tell my students the same thing. I will respond to you by 5 p.m. the next day. That's my policy, you know. If it's on a weekend, you know, if you email me on Saturday, don't expect a reply until Monday, 5 p.m. at the latest. It probably will be sooner, but don't expect it, because, you know, weekend is my time, you know, as is, I'm sure all of you enjoy your weekends too. Okay. Institutional policies, probably something that should be present where students can find them. Yes, it's in your syllabus, but it should be in a place where students can more readily access it. Student resources. These are the things that students might need to succeed academically or not academically. Academic resources include tutoring. What are the tutoring services here on campus? Software, technical support. These are things that they might need to be successful, specifically in an online class. And what if you're teaching a class with technology anyway? They might need access to that information. Non-academic. If they're taking classes on campus, what happens if they need to see medical personnel? They get hurt in any way, shape, or form. That's non-academic. What are counseling services? Now, I don't know if Triton offers that, but at Governor State, we do have a full counseling and wellness center available to students. But anything academic or non-academic, if you're going to give them this information in an in-person class, if it's present in the syllabus, it should also be present in the orientation materials within the course design. Now, there may be specific things specific to your course. Might also be in your syllabus, also needs to be available to courses like, what are the learning objectives? What's the curriculum that they're going to be learning in the class? That should be something included in orientation materials. Welcome video. Now, you're teaching in a totally asynchronous class. Do you have any kind of video introduction or orientation? You do. Okay, great. What did you use to create that?
Screencast-O-Matic.
Oh yeah, that's a great free tool. Great free tool. Screencast-O-Matic is a good one. Collaborate Ultra is a tool built into Blackboard. I'll show you how to use it a little bit. You know, if you're not familiar with it, we'll very quickly go through it. Laura Mbach's recorded me right now, you know, putting on this show. Okay. But a welcome video should be introduce yourself to the students, maybe briefly go over some of your policies. This is also an opportunity to maybe give them a tour of how your course is designed in Blackboard. There's no, like I said before, there's no wrong way to do things, but every course is going to be different. Even if you're given a template, you're still going to manipulate that template based on your course's needs, your goals for using the tools. So give them a tour of it. Here's where you're going to find stuff. Here's where you can get started on your first assignment. Here's the button where you can click to email me. Course prerequisites might not be a bad idea to include. Also might be in the syllabus. Be surprised how many students get through the registration polls and say, oh yeah, I'm qualified to take that, and get in and they really shouldn't be in your class because they haven't really met the prerequisites. Even if you don't have like required course prerequisites, like I teach a lot of technology classes. No, there aren't any actual classes that are prerequisites to take my class. But if I'm teaching a class in Adobe Creative Cloud, I'm upfront with the students. If you need help turning the computer on, this is too advanced for you. If you don't know how to get on the internet and how to save files and how to print, you're gonna be challenged in this class. You might want to think about taking a more elementary intro to computer science class before you start taking advanced software. These are things that you might want to introduce in the welcome video as well, give them an idea of what they're going to be working. Department and program policies. Not the entire campus might know what those policies are, but they're not going to single them out for your students. You might have to do that. They might be in your syllabus, but again, put them somewhere in the course design. Scavenger hunt assignment. This is how I know my students at least should have read the syllabus and looked at the orientation materials. I give them a graded test. 30 questions, 1 point each, multiple choice, random items picked out of the syllabus and orientation materials. And they have to get 100% before they can even see module number 1. Student introductions. How are students introducing themselves to you, to each other? And maybe you could also provide an example of how to introduce yourself to them so they can get to know you a little bit as well. Okay, let's take a look at some examples. Okay, so I'm going to look at another Triton class I have here, CIS. It's the previous semester. So in this class, this is CIS 110, which is Introduction to Social Media. Okay. In this class, I'm going to go into the student point of view. Now, course materials has all the units, all the modules that the students are going to be interacting with. But I've put a rule in place in this class that a student must pass the orientation in order to see Unit 1. So if I go into the student point of view, course materials. If I click on course materials, all I see is welcome. I cannot get any farther. But if I go in here and find, here's the orientation module, and here is the quiz for students to take after they've looked at all of the orientation materials. I begin the test. I reviewed the syllabus for this course, yes or no?
Yes.
It could be as simple as one question. Let's see what happens if I say no. And okay, and I still can't get any farther. I have to say yes. I have to say yes. So let's try it again. Go to the module. I'm looking at all the materials. Here's the textbook, blah, blah, blah. Finally get to the quiz. Start a new submission. Yes, I have reviewed the syllabus for this course. Save and submit. Okay. And now I can see all the units. So if you're teaching an online-only course, have something in place. Now this course was designed by somebody else. I used his same quiz. Now this course here is one of my courses at Governor State University. I teach Adobe Creative Cloud, which is a little bit more advanced software, graphic design software. I was a graphic designer in the printing industry for about 10 years before. I was a middle school teacher for 15 years, and now I'm full-time at Governor State. But here, the students have, in the Start Here module, they have their orientation. And after they go through what I call the formalities, which is all the policies, they have a Blackboard scavenger hunt quiz. And this quiz is multiple questions, 10 questions, 3 points each. And I'm just going to randomly. Now, I do not have a rule in place here for students to move forward because I decided not to do that. But students do get graded on this, and I give them multiple opportunities to get full credit. I let them take quizzes multiple times so they get it right. Because for me, in this class, this is more of a project-based class. The quizzes are more like vocabulary and concepts. So I'm not even reading these questions. I'm just going through the motions here. Okay, now view my results, and wow, I got 0 correct on my own test. But the idea being that this is something graded, and students can't move forward with the content until they've at least reviewed the orientation materials. Give them an opportunity to get to know what they need to know. Students are there to learn. How are they going to succeed? Give them the tools to succeed. Whatever works best for you. Do we have any other questions? Any questions, comments, ideas?
I have a comment.
Yes.
With that, I am the faculty coordinator for the CTE and teaching the math department. With that questionnaire, you also give students an opportunity to go back and do it. However, it seems like students can also cheat with that as well too, because if they failed it like you did, they can look at the answers and go back and do it again.
This is true.
And pass it.
This is absolutely true, but it's also materials that I'm not hiding from them. It's information that I want them to know, so that if they do rush through it like that and get a terrible grade, well, maybe you should go back and take a look and read it. Everybody's got a different approach. Now, on actual content, I don't do that. On this, because it's information that I want them to see, I'm not trying to hide my policies from them. I want to make sure that they know what the policies are. I'm going to give them multiple attempts. I'm going to let them see, well, maybe I missed that. And these questions that I've put in the quiz, these are probably the most important ones for me also. You know, some of the things that are in your syllabus and orientation might be required by your department or whatever, but these are things specific that I personally find important for my class, for how I interact with students. So I want them to understand what I feel is most important. And that's why I put together the quiz the way I did. Yeah. But on content, I will make it open book, open note, but I don't give them multiple attempts because I want them to take the time and read it and get it right the first time. Everybody's got a different approach. There's no wrong way. Okay? Everybody's got a different idea how to maybe approach things. Okay. Any other questions or thoughts, comments? Okay. Taking a look at next slide. Student resources. Now, Triton, their resources are a little bit different than GSU's. Every university, every college has different ways to set up their resources. In Blackboard shells, and maybe Shelley still back there? No? Maybe Laura, you can answer this question. In a Triton issued Blackboard shell, because I haven't taught any full classes online here at Triton since the changeover to Ultra. But here, let me look at one of the current courses here. So this is, these items here are all student resources. Are these always by default placed in Blackboard shells?
Good question.
I think so.
Want you know?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So So this is accurate. Okay, great. All right. So these resources are campus-wide resources, right? What if you have things that are specific to your department or program? You need to add them, and that's where you can build within your orientation area. You can have items that are specific to your course and maybe things that are also on campus that you feel are necessary for students to have access to. You would create those items here in your orientation materials. Taking a look at one of my courses here at Governor State. If I look at my orientation area, I have a folder called Formalities. The folder called Foundations is actually the first week's content, like the lecture content, homework assignment. But I have here my first official meeting link and the notes that go along with the orientation meeting. I have the syllabus, that all-important document that we're trying to think beyond, okay, and the ability to download it. Those of you who teach online, or even if you put it in your Blackboard shell, what file format is your syllabus in?
PDF.
What is it?
PDF.
It's a PDF. Anybody else have anything other than PDF?
Word.
Word document.
Yeah, you can upload it as Word.
You can.
But the students, I have had an experience where the students have changed it.
Yes, I was just about to say.
You said, oh, that's not what the syllabus says.
Right.
So now I put it in PDF.
Students are smart and dumb at the same time. So yes, you want to have PDFs. You want to have PDFs. And the reason why is exactly for that reason. A Word document, student can download it, change, and say, look, your syllabus says this. Like, no, it says this. Nope, look at this. I got this right here. PDF, not only is it not easily editable, it is editable, but not easily. But it's web friendly. See how when I click on the PDF, it opened up in a new window. Yes, sir.
Actually, now in Google there is a PDF editor. It's free. They used to be only in the Pro PDF.
Right.
Now it's a free.
Yes, but it's still not as easy to edit as
It is very easy.
But it's not as easy as Word. It's not. There are, but even still, they would have to download it,
yes,
change it, save it. But as soon as I click on this link, it doesn't download anything. It opens a new web-friendly video or web-friendly window, and it's right here. So yes, there are ways to change things. The software is getting better all the time, but do what you can to try and prevent that. And having PDFs
slows them down. Anyway.
Slows them down. Yes, good way of putting it. Slowing them down.
JPEG.
What's that?
A JPEG. In a JPEG format.
Yeah. So learning objectives, and this is created by the department. This is also in the syllabus. A lot of these items are already in the syllabus, but again, I'm trying to put them in a format that is more easily accessible to students so that they don't have to thumb through a very large document. Look, here's your learning objectives. Here are all the formalities. Here's everything that you need. Agenda for our first meeting. Here's the video introduction and tour of the course. Here is my communication expectations. This actually comes directly out of GSU's syllabus template. This is what is expected of all instructors, and I've also adapted it for my unique class as well. Institutional policies, again, this is copied and pasted directly out of the syllabus, but it's in a place where students can easily find it. Now, student resources, just like Triton has things that are already built into the Blackboard shell, Governor State does too. But we've compiled them all into one link on the left, and then I have created as a separate item in my orientation specific things that apply not only to the university, but also unique to my course as well. And I have links to each of those individual items here for the students to access. Because I'm teaching a software class, these are the software requirements. Now, if you're teaching an online class that doesn't use specific software, you might want to mention at least the browsers you plan to use, any online tools that you plan to access in the future. A lot of students are using mobile. Blackboard does have a mobile app. I think it's awful. It's a lot of course design is dependent on using a laptop or a desktop, especially when it comes to teaching software. You could not take any of my classes on a phone because you need to learn how to use actual software on a desktop, not mobile app friendly. But your class might be different. A lot of textbooks from publishers come in a mobile friendly format. Are you linking to that textbook through your Blackboard shell? Are you providing them access through the publisher's website? How are students going to get that information? Do they have to buy a code through the bookstore, or do they buy a physical textbook? But provide them with that information. I have 2 software requirements. It just so happens that at Governor State, Microsoft Office is free for instructors and students. It should be free here too, as well. And then that first homework assignment, take the syllabus and orientation quiz.
If I may.
Yes, you may.
Very, very quickly.
Yes.
For all of you, if you want to use any Microsoft, it is on the portal. You can have it linked, like I have it linked to Blackboard, so students can go to the portal and actually get the free Microsoft Office equipment. And also any other software for college that they use in other classes as well. It is on the portal, but like I have in my class, it's linked to the portal so they can actually see it as well. So it's listed as a Microsoft.
Yep. Anything better than cheap is free. So that's that's going to be beneficial in all classes. Writing paper, making presentations.
Yeah, and the students agree with you. The saying they use is the app is crap.
Yeah, my students don't. They want to know why. They don't say the app is crap. They want to know why things aren't more app friendly. Well, ask the publisher. Ask the software provider. We subscribe to it. This is what they give us. Sorry. Not everything can be done on a mobile device. We wish it could, but
we're getting there. But
we're getting there. But until then, we got to use for realsies computers. Sorry. All right. So orientation materials, you need to provide these items, and you can copy and paste them right out of your syllabus if you need to. But again, create items within the course design where students can easily find them. If my students have a problem, well, I don't know how to download the software. We're in week 8. We've been working for half a semester already, but I haven't downloaded the software yet. Well, go into the orientation, look at the software requirements, and there's the link to download it right there. And if you don't want to download it, because the Microsoft suite is free, but Adobe is not, they get a student discount. If you don't want to pay for it, well, you can always come to campus and use the computer lab. Give them options. All right. Thank you for your comments and participation. That is most welcome. We talked briefly about welcome video. You can narrate your recordings in Collaborate Ultra. You use Screencast-O-Matic, which is a free tool, but built into the Blackboard shell already is Collaborate Ultra. And I like it better than Zoom or WebEx personally, because I think it's more instructor friendly. Zoom and WebEx and Microsoft Teams expect everyone who participates in a meeting to act like an adult. Whereas in Collaborate Ultra, you have a little bit more control. Let's face it, some of our students, as much as they are adults, some of them are still coming right out of high school and might have that high school mentality. You might want to, there are controls there to stop them from passing notes, so to speak, so they can't have chats with each other behind your back. You can control who, the instructor controls who's presenter and who isn't, whereas in Zoom and WebEx, you can make yourself the presenter in certain situations, depending on how it's set up. You have a little bit more control. And if we do have time, because we got about 15 minutes left, I can show you how to narrate a PowerPoint if you're interested in that. But I will show you how to, in Collaborate right now, it is very simple to narrate your presentation. Let's close that, and we'll go to Triton class. Excuse me. And so I need to add this tool. Let's look at a different class. I might have it at a different class. Because I don't use Collaborate in all my classes. Okay, here we go. So Collaborate Ultra is a tool. You can also add a tool to your left navigation with that same plus button, and you would choose Tool Link, and you would have to choose from type. Where is it in here?
Class Collaborate Ultra.
Yeah, Class Collaborate Ultra. I was looking for COL, and it's CLS and CLA. So Class is a company started by the former CEO of Blackboard, and they bought Collaborate Ultra, and they're now building a new tool called Class, which we may be forced to both here and at GSU to switch to. And then you name it whatever you want. You know, video. Why is that caps lock? Whatever you feel is appropriate for this, you can name it. Okay. I'm not going to actually create it because it's already here in my left navigation. But here in Collaborate Ultra, you have a meeting room already set up for the class. To start recording, just click on the room, join the course room. You automatically are the moderator / presenter in the class. You can see here by clicking on the purple tab how many people are in the room, just me. But if there were other students in the room, if I could share this with them. I can share this link by clicking on settings here, and actually no. Clicking here and copy the guest link. I can email this guest link to a student. Student clicks on the link and they join the room, and they show up here as a participant in the list. Okay. Now, while I am presenting, let's say I want to present this PowerPoint presentation. I click on Share Content. I can share either files. I'm going to load a file in here really quick. Might take a second for it to make it into a friendly format to preview. I find PDFs are better than PowerPoints because PDFs lock the fonts in place. I can choose which slide to start presenting from. If I don't want to present the file, I can go back and present my screen. I can choose the entire screen. I can choose specific tabs that I have open, specific windows that I have open. I personally like entire screen because especially when I'm demonstrating software, I'm jumping back and forth between things. I click on the screen preview and then click share. And now I am sharing the entire screen. And yes, that's supposed to happen. That means I'm sharing, and I'm sharing what I'm sharing, and I'm sharing what I'm sharing, and I'm sharing what I'm sharing off into infinity. I'm blessed at home that I have 2 monitors, and in my office at work I have 3. So I can choose different monitors to choose. So if I'm sharing monitor 1, but all my work is on monitor 2, you don't see this going off into infinity, but because I'm only sharing 1. So let's say I'm ready to share. I've got everything set up. I got to turn on my microphone. Hello, testing, and you can see it going up and down, meaning that it's receiving sound. And now here in this menu, click on Start Recording. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to our presentation on thinking outside the syllabus. And I would keep talking for however long I need to talk. I can narrate my PowerPoint. I can do a software demonstration. I can even change this to share the camera on myself if I wanted to. And when I'm done recording, I click on Stop Recording. If I don't want to share this anymore, I can click the Stop button up here, and now I'm not sharing anything. If I have my camera on, yeah, see, it's not even looking at me, so I'm not going to bother trying to figure it. But if I had the camera on me, I could be talking instead of presenting. My recording is done. Where do I get it? Going back to Collaborate Ultra, this little hamburger right here, it's always on sessions by default, but if I want to see my recordings, I click on recordings. And it's not finished rendering yet, but this is the recording that I was just doing a few minutes ago. Depending on how long your recording is, it takes a little bit longer to render it, but usually within about an hour, it's ready. And when it's ready, I can even look at recordings here in my, students can even see recordings. So this is in the class that I actually teach, and students can see recordings in class, and here are sessions that I have scheduled. Here's my main office room. And in recordings, I can go in and, well, see, I'm a student, I can't edit it, but from the instructor point of view, if I click on this menu, I can then edit the title or download it. And I actually download my videos and then caption them and break them into chapters and then upload them to a streaming server in addition to this, which is above and beyond, but students at least can access recordings here and you can name them appropriately.
So when you say upload them to a streaming server, you mean something like YouTube?
Yeah, well, at Governor State, we have a service called Panopto, which is like YouTube, but actually quite a bit better. Their auto captioning capabilities are much better than YouTube's. YouTube is phonetic. Panopto's is phonetic, but I think there's some AI involved that can distinguish better from pronunciation, accents, whatnot. And also it has the ability to add question prompts in it. So like you get to like minute 5:05, time marker 5:05, and then you have a question prompt. The student has to answer like a true-false question or a multiple-choice question to continue watching the video.
Oh, interesting.
So like a checking for understanding along the way. It has that capability as well. Has the ability to edit just like Screencast-O-Matic as well in Panopto. I didn't want to show you that because you don't have it here, so I didn't want to. But at least you have this already built into Blackboard. And then let's say, let me go to instructor point of view. When I look at my recordings, I can copy a link to this recording, and I can share this with students, or I can create an item in Blackboard that has this link in it. So I've copied this link, and now I can open I just copy and paste it. Hurry up and wait. It will eventually load. I swear to you, it's a for realsies recording. It's really there. Come on, you can do it. I think what happened is, let's try.
Yeah, I've had some.
It's adding this extra thing at the end here. There, let's do that.
I've had some not show up until like after midnight when the computer resets or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Wow, this is terrible. Let's close that. Let's just do that here. Paste. Loading recording. There we go. There. So now students, you can put this in an email, students click on it and they get this. Or you can put it in an announcement, or you can put it in a Blackboard item as a previous recording. Here was week 1's lecture. And they click play and it's...
All right, we're back from break.
And you hear my wonderful voice there. Okay, so you get the idea. So have a welcome video for your students, not a bad idea. Introductions. That video could be how you introduce yourself to your students. How do students introduce themselves to you and the class? If it's an online class, it's okay that it's totally asynchronous, but how are they interacting beyond just looking at the content and taking quizzes and submitting assignments? There should be some kind of interaction where they interact with each other, interact with you, beyond just emailing questions. What I do is I create discussions where they have to interact with each other. Discussions are a great tool for that. looking at, I don't know what all this is. Did I close it? Did I close something? Or it's over here. There we go. Too many things open. Okay, so in the discussions, I have them now, because I'm teaching a class specifically in Adobe Creative Cloud software, we deal with a lot of color, so I have my students introduce themselves in a what is your favorite color discussion. But then they have to link it to the content that we talked about in week 1, which has to do with the code for web-friendly colors and psychology of the meaning behind colors, cultural references as to why certain colors are used in certain situations. And that's actually part of what I'm going to be doing in my workshop here next Tuesday, is talking about the psychology of color, along with how, to make things, how to make your designs accessible using color and fonts. And
So, like universal design?
we're going to touch on that a little bit, yeah. More specific to how do you build courses in Blackboard, but yeah, a little bit of universal design. And then students introduce themselves with their favorite color. They justify why based on the psychology, and then they have to give me some technical information about that color. But that's how they introduce themselves to each other and to me. And then they also have to find a web-friendly color or a web-friendly photograph, cite it. So it's also an exercise in how to cite references when they download images online. And I give them an example of how to do it. This is what I'm expecting. Giving them a model to follow. So we're very quickly coming to the end here, so I will try and wrap up. Yeah, so we're going to do a very quick Kahoot. Have you guys ever done Kahoot before? Some of you may have. Okay, so you're going to go, please, on your smartphones, go to this website right here, kahoot.it, and you're going to enter in this code right here, 719-6078, and I had that open right here. And let me click Start so that you can, oh, did I mess that up? I messed that up. Yes, well, that's the game. I shouldn't have clicked Start. I'm sorry, I messed that up. You may have to do a different code now. Okay, kahoot.it, different code number. Sorry, because I shouldn't have clicked Start until people actually showed up. My bad. So we've got Todd, and Hunter, and TJ. Hunter is Elvis World. That's how I'm reading that.
Yeah, we don't get to pick, it just assigns us.
Yeah, I know, but it's just
maybe
funny
we
that
can.
it's.
Oh, we can
There's a little
edit
edit
them.
button that you can.
Okay.
I didn't pick it, but I like it, so I'm gonna keep it.
Okay.
I didn't know you
Are you
could edit.
TJ?
Am I teaching?
Yeah.
No, I'm TJ.
No, you're TJ. Who's who? I'm sorry, I forgot to do introductions.
I'm Hunter.
You're Hunter.
I'm Todd.
Todd.
Twan.
And TJ, and we're waiting for two more. Please join us. Your phone's not working? Well, don't yell out answers then. Or you can't. It doesn't matter. All right, so this is how we're going to wrap up. Are we?
Got one more.
One more.
That's creepy, they blink their eyes.
Yeah, that's messing with you. There we go. B's here. All right. So we've got our class here. Now we're gonna go through some questions here. 3, 2, 1, and starting our quiz. Online courses require not only syllabus design but also. I believe you get higher points the faster you answer. Which of these choices?
That's been right.
For 3, 2, 1, and okay. So we've got course design is the correct answer. Content delivery is most definitely important, yes, but we were talking today about designing your course, not necessarily the content within the course. Okay, I don't know why we're showing that. Okay, next. Wasn't kidding. Next. Okay. All right, so in the lead is TJ with 918 points. Question number 2. What should the orientation area be labeled so students know how to begin their online course experience? What should be the label that is put on it? Is it orientation? Is it syllabus? Is it start here? Or is it content? And start here is orientation would be okay too. We'll accept that. We'll accept that. But start here, so definitely so they know where to get started. And TJ's still in the lead. And we had a little bit of change. True or false? Your syllabus might contain items that can be copied and pasted into items in the orientation area. True or false?
It's not letting me answer. Just spinning.
True, that is correct. Your syllabus might have some of this information already, but copy and paste it and put it into items inside your course design. And a little bit of shift, Todd having Wi-Fi issues. TJ in the lead. Another true or false. The orientation area should contain all institution and course policies and resources. True or false? Yes, true. Good job, everybody.
I'm stuck on question 3.
Okay, I'm sorry. Maybe it's a Wi-Fi thing. Are you connected to the Wi-Fi? I don't know.
Sure.
Hunter jumps into the lead, displacing TJ. All right. What can be an instructor's introduction, brief tour of the course's organization, and summarize a first meeting session? What could that be? Could it be a welcome video? Could it be the orientation area, instructor info, or student resources?
I'm locked out.
What?
I'm locked out.
Okay. Yeah, the welcome video. That can be where you briefly summarize everything, maybe give them a tour of your course organization. And Hunter, still in the lead. TJ, not far behind. True or false? Students should introduce themselves to the class. True or false? Yes, that's true. Yes, that is true. And no displacement. Hunter's on fire.
Hunter's fast.
Scavenger hunt activities are the only way to know what students actually access, that they actually access the course materials. True or false? It's the only way. That is correct. False. It's not the only way. Whatever way makes sense for you. But students should have an idea of how to access. And our winner is Chuan in third, TJ in second, very close behind Hunter. Congratulations, Hunter. Your prize is a round of applause. We'll go around the other way too. All right. I'm finished, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you got something out of this. My name is Scott Theisen. I am a Senior Online Instruction Specialist at Governor State University. I'm adjunct here at training. So,
Thanks,
all
Scott.
you're welcome.
For everyone, please make sure you fill out the evaluation for the course and for our adjuncts. We have our
I think you're good.
appreciation days coming
You
up.
got a little bit
Please scan
careful.
the barcode.
Some Native American nations, they don't
Show
have
up on
credit
next
cards.
for our appreciation.
You got to be very careful with that because they're asking the next category color that we need.
Next week, right?
I will.
In particular, the Chinookies, they
I
love
put
it inside
my
the
calendar down, like,
Okay, that is something to keep in mind. Thank you.
that.
Yeah, many Native American nations, they don't have it.
Oh, I
Because, you know, you have 14 words for me.
Yeah.
Then how they're going to then, when they say, what green you want to give them?
Mhm.
If I have one, what green you're talking about?
Right. Well, and that's actually,
And the Cherokee, they don't.
that's good to know, because in that assignment, the class is about using graphic software, color, and ink is actually the content area. So, but the website that I sent them to for color psychology has different degrees.
You
of
don't, you don't need how to know it. I work with Native Americans.
Okay, but yeah, that is good to know. Yeah,
Yeah, and
appreciate
they're
it.
very nation, and Anonga Nation, some of the OP, they don't use
Mhm.
Lakota Sioux, also they don't have Narragansett.
Okay.
They don't.
Okay. Well,
Be
thank you.
careful with that.
Thank you for that information. I appreciate it.
On the next.
Sorry.
Thank you.
Yep.
I'm just waiting for you. I'm gonna close up everything.
Okay, great. I'll get my stuff out of here.
I'll stop the recording. And I think you did.
How many brought in?